Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Elite City Podcast. Our friends in AEW, Rick, they sold some tickets today.
Yeah, just a few. I mean, I'm pretty sure Tony Khan bought all of them. Apparently,
1,000%. Wow.
Yeah, he spent millions of dollars buying his own tickets, and then or scalpers bought them all, and no one's going to buy them. Either way, according to a large portion of the internet, this is very offensive, and nobody will be in attendance. And
I love it.
Leave it to the internet to turn selling 60,000 tickets,
yeah, 60,000
into somehow a bad thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, incredible. Like, enough sarcasm and whatever, but that's outstanding.
And there's still 4 months to go. Before All In, so it's pretty safe to say now it's gonna sell out.
Yeah, I don't see how it couldn't, because I was reading online and some people were saying even if there's a couple weeks to go and it's not sold out, they could always do for one day only tickets are 50% off or something, just to get people to buy their, if there's 5,000 tickets left and they need to sell, they can do it. Totally. So yeah, and I think I sent it to you, someone said that the WrestleMania that was in Dallas, I forget which one it was, it's the largest attendance, it's 101,000, but that's a WWE number. The number that they gave investors and the number that the police said is closer to 85,000. So AEW is 25,000 tickets away from the selling more tickets for a single wrestling event than anyone else ever had. That's insane.
That's utterly insane.
If you told me a year ago or 2 years ago, 6 months ago, that the largest ticketed event in wrestling will be an AEW show, I wouldn't believe it.
I wouldn't have believed that they were even running Wembley until they said it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have joked on here many, many times about Sky Dome.
Right.
And the jokes started to get a little more serious, and
I do think they could have done it just based on how fast
Forbidden
Door sold out. But again, Sky Dome's not the size of Wembley. It holds 60,000.
Right, but Forbidden Door now looks how fast did it sell out?
It sold out in an hour. It was pretty fast.
There you go. So the demand is there right now, and that's great for everybody. That's the thing that I don't understand. The people that are offended by a company doing well,
right?
You do realize that's better for you and the company that you like, because competition breeds, it brings out the best in everybody. And if I'm going to use Drew McIntyre, everybody knows his contract is up or whatever.
I think it's coming up sometime this year. We don't know when. WWE doesn't even know when, I'm sure.
I'm sure. They're like, what? We signed him? He works here? But with AEW doing well, okay, maybe he's not going to leave, but the threat of him possibly leaving is going to give him more money.
Right. And even even if you don't count the competition aspect of it, WrestleMania, I watched WrestleMania, but even if I didn't watch WrestleMania, and WWE sold 80,000 or put 80,000 people in a building, whatever, I don't know how many they sold, whatever it was.
Right.
That doesn't affect my enjoyment of AEW in any way whatsoever. WWE could sell 500,000 tickets and it wouldn't affect my enjoyment. WWE is very successful. That doesn't affect, I can choose to watch it or I can choose not to watch it. It doesn't affect, it's not like AEW doing this. WWE is running a show the same night and it's taking their audience away. They undercut them on ticket prices or whatever. They're not. So this doesn't affect you at all. You could just not watch the show if you don't like it.
Yeah, right. And I don't know, whatever. Those people make my head hurt. But it's
impressive. It's really impressive.
Very impressive. It's impressive. And the other thing that not many people are talking about, no card or no person has even been announced for this show yet.
We don't even know if it's a pay-per-view or what it is.
There you go.
Like if it's on TV. Like I'm thinking, I think I said to you offline that I think that they're not going to tell us how they're airing this show until the tickets are all sold. Because if it's going to be on free TV, there might be some people who are like, oh, I'm an hour away from London. I'm not going to travel in for an hour when I could just watch it for free at home.
Right.
But if they don't tell you where it's going to air, then you're like, oh, I have to go because maybe it won't even be on TV. We don't know, right? So
true.
I mean, it will be, but there's a chance that you know what I mean.
And it was just big news, just a big day.
Double J made a very good point that like the UK hasn't ever had. They had a SummerSlam. The UK's never had a WrestleMania, so this is their WrestleMania. Not in a sense that it's equal to WrestleMania or whatever, but like this is their big wrestling show that they get, which they haven't had in 30 years.
It's weird to me that it's been weird to me my entire life that WWE never ran more European shows. Like they would do like there's literally just a handful of them.
Right. And I know there's a time difference, but still.
Again, but still, like what's it matter?
Right.
Especially like in time before the internet, like they could have easily ran like I don't know, just say like WrestleMania 12.
Right.
I don't know. Just it's weird that they don't look at that market, but I'm glad that AEW has.
Yeah. What are they, 5 hours different from us? Like the UK is 5 hours different from us?
I think it's a 5 hour difference.
So they could have a show there that starts at 7 and starts here at 2. Like people will watch a show at 2.
Oh yeah.
That's not out of the ordinary.
No, totally. I mean, especially like on a Sunday.
Do it like a Sunday night or something, right? Like Sunday afternoon, like Saturday afternoon, whatever. Like
Oh yeah, like in the United States, I mean that's football time,
right?
So people do it. So that absolutely.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's a big week. It's a big day. I don't know, like even Tony Khan's gloating on the internet, which I get. If you don't like that personality, fine, that's fine. But like even the last couple of days, people who like routinely insult Tony Khan for his gloating, people are like, yeah, he deserves it. Just like let him do it. Like he deserves it this week.
Yeah,
it looked insane when they said Wembley, and you know that they must have done research and thought it was possible. Like they're not going into this blind. I'm sure they did like market research and figured out like estimated how many they would sell, but it looked insane when they announced Wembley.
And I mean, even if those numbers were like 50-50, you still sometimes got to take a leap of faith. And
right.
I'm not saying that they did, but
but you never know for sure until you put them on sale.
Exactly. Like, they could have had all the analytics coming out the wazoo and saying, yeah, it's going to sell out in 4 seconds and not sold one.
Right. Yeah.
So it's very good time to be a fan, to say the least.
Do you think? And I don't want to off sidetrack this because we're trying to go through a lot of stuff. We'll do all of Dynamite too. Don't worry.
Yes, we're getting there.
But do you think that there's not to make it about him again? But do you think there's a part of Cody who's like, oh man,
totally.
Like I know he's happy. Like assuming he's 100% happy in W, which he could easily be. Like we don't know. Right? Maybe he loves it there and it's great and he's having a great time. And even so, like if you did the first All In with all your friends and sold, 10,000 tickets when no one thought you could, and you felt really cool about it, and like you should be proud of yourself. Yes. And then you started a company with those same friends and no one thought it would get it on TV and it did. And like, you're pretty proud of it. And you're like, and now like they're all doing it again. And you're, even if you're happy, right? It just makes you think like, if you're in like a band with your friends and they are like, okay, we're all going to quit our jobs and take this band real seriously. You're like, no, I can't do that. I'm going to stay at my office job because like I can't take that leap. And they like, become super successful and sell out a world tour. Like there's a part of you that's like, I know this was the right choice for me, but man, that would have been cool.
Yeah, like it has to. It just has to eat at him at least a little bit. Just like you said, like his DNA is in this company, and here we are. Has he even been in? Well, he's been there a year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, not even a year after he leaves, they're gonna do the biggest show in history of professional wrestling, and he's
Right.
not gonna be on it. Like yeah, there's something there, at least a little bit.
Even just a little bit of like, man, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't think it's any sort of like regret or anything. I think it's more what you're saying. Like, damn it, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, just the moment that he could have had with his brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
But instead he lost to Roman. No.
Hey, by the time this comes out, he could also lose to Brock Lesnar. So
that is very true.
Anyway, before we get to Dynamite, we should do our plugs that we didn't do. Subscribe, share, rate, tweet if that still works. We don't even know if that works anymore. But all the other stuff you can still do. So please, thank you if you have, because we did get some new people subscribing and sharing and rating this week. So please continue to do that. That's really great. It's technically been 1 year this week of this podcast, which we really enjoyed. But next week is going to be show 52 because we missed a week. So we're going to have a little celebration for ourselves then, and for you guys too. So thank you to anyone who's listening and who has listened or done anything. It's been really fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and it's when I got the email I forwarded it to you, and it's like, congratulations, you've been doing this for a year. It's like, wow, it does not seem like it at all.
No, not at all. It's been fun.
Yeah, with just a fun thing to do that started via Twitter, and here we are.
Poor Twitter.
Poor Twitter too.
Anyway,
poor Twitter.
Poor Cody. Poor Twitter. So Dynamite.
Anyway, Dynamite. We are officially on the road to Double or Nothing, which also another big pay-per-view coming up in weeks. What a summer.
I know.
We're gonna go from Double or Nothing right into Forbidden Door,
which I'll be going to.
Which you'll be going to. Wow, it only took 14 minutes. That's what, June. Then sorry, July, you don't get anything.
Yeah. I think there's an ROH. I'm sure there'll be an ROH show that month.
Oh yeah, sorry. There is usually ROH in July.
Yeah. So but then August and then September.
And then September.
We have All In followed by All Out. I think they're only like a week apart. So that'll be interesting.
Oh man.
That's why that's another thing that makes me think All In won't be a pay-per-view, because they're not going to have two pay-per-views a week after one another. They know that like people aren't going to spend $50 2 weeks in a row. So
good call.
So Dynamite started with our friends.
Yes.
The Jericho Appreciation Society, which I'm sure we won't have anything to say about.
Well, see, I'm going to start because my first note of the week, and before you even messaged me today and said you had a little rant you wanted to go on about Jericho, first note of the week, there is no need for Jericho to be in the intro video to Dynamite twice. He's in it as a single, and he's in it with his group.
Of course he is. I didn't even notice that. But yeah, of course he is.
I've never noticed it till last week, and that's why I wrote it down. Like, there's somebody else that could be in there.
I mean, the only way that would work is if like every week he showed up an extra time. Like next week he's in it 3 times, and then like the week after he's in it 4. That would be funny.
That would be actually hilarious. But like, I don't like, unless it's part of something that they're going to turn it into something.
I mean, I'm not saying any of the things with Jericho are like bias on anyone's part, or like he's legitimately a big star. I understand that he's but like apparently he's really close with Tony, and they're like really good friends. Like they hang out a lot, and like they plan, like they don't plan the shows together, but like from what I've read from other people saying, like, oh, a lot of the time they'd be like, oh, where's Tony? Oh, he's with Jericho. Like he's just they're together a lot. So I think that it would be really cool. I mean, we've talked about this before. Tony Khan is a big wrestling fan, right? So like getting to work with Chris Jericho is probably really cool. So I get it, but like we've said a million times, like I'm just a little over Chris Jericho right now.
Well, he did announce this week that he's going to be in a movie. So
that's a shame. Won't be on TV for a while. Oh man. Right. Yeah. So sad. So wait, no, Jericho, come back.
Yeah. Oh, he'll probably film segments from the set, send him in just to be on the show.
Yeah.
But after my rant of Jericho needs to not be in the I keep saying entrance video, the intro video twice.
It's only like 20 seconds long, too.
Exactly. I think you had something to say about Mr. Jericho yourself.
Yeah, the thing is, what bothers me about, I was trying to think of what bothers me about this Adam Cole, Jericho, Britt Baker angle. And what bothers me about it is Jericho came out to do, guest commentary, and like Tony Schiavone and all of them were like, that was the most dastardly thing we've ever seen in Dynamite. Like, no, it's not. It's not even close. It's nowhere close to like the worst. It's not even the worst thing that's ever happened to Britt Baker, let alone like, like we've seen her like go through thumbtacks and be thrown through tables and like,
right.
No, it's not the worst thing that happened on the show. Like the BCC's been stabbing people in the face with screwdrivers. Like it's not the worst, most dastardly thing that anyone's ever done. Like they're treating it like it is. They're like, that was what? Because you hit her with a kendo stick 4 times? Like, yeah, that's bad. Like in the real world, yes, that's bad. If someone hits your like significant other with a stick, a bunch of stuff. But like in wrestling, like that kind of stuff, like that happens a million times. Like it's not. No, I get what they're trying to do, being like, oh, but you handcuffed Adam Cole and made him watch. About like they no, it's not. It doesn't work. It doesn't work when Adam Cole. I'll skip to the end of the match, but when Adam Cole attacked him and like put him through the stage, and they were like, you have to get him out of the building. Like he just knocked over like a curtain. Like again, a million things have happened that are worse on Dynamite, and they don't treat them like this. Like again, people are being stabbed in the face with screwdrivers on like a weekly basis. And at no point there does Tony Schiavone go, someone has to escort them out of the building. Like it's so that's what I think that's why it's weird. It feels like a segment, and I don't, not to bash WWE, but it feels like this segment is like a PG WWE segment that they stuck into Dynamite every week, and it doesn't fit. Like it doesn't work. Maybe Jericho is being really smart and portraying this as like, I'm a sports entertainer, so my segments are going to be maybe, but I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like any of. I'm over. Adam Cole was so over when he came back, and everyone was so excited to have him back, and now it's just like, eh.
I do agree with that. And I do agree with the Jericho stuff. It's you're right. It's hard to like kind of pinpoint.
It just feels off. It feels odd.
Yeah. Well, even with, like you said, the attack, we'll talk about that, because my biggest note here was exactly what you said. Like they made it seem like that the camera missed something or something, but he literally just fell through a curtain, and a light fell over. It
didn't even fall on him. Like
right.
But then again, like the BCC, like Don Callis, they literally split his head open, and like no one's acting like that's horrific, right? Like,
yeah. So I don't know. I agree with you though. It's very stale. So hopefully him in this acting role will.
I really hope that they get to Double or Nothing, which is what, like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks away. Like it's not far.
Yeah.
And I hope Adam Cole just beats him, and then we just move on to something else. Because
like
I mean, this match, cool. This match, I was watching it late. I didn't watch Dynamite live. I watched it later on. Okay. This match to me opening match felt really long.
Insanely long.
Like longer than it needed to be.
Totally longer than it needed to be. It was.
And I don't even remember it. Like I'm pretty sure Adam Cole won. I think he did. But like I barely remember much. Like not a criticism of any of the guys. Like I like all these wrestlers. It felt like it was really long, and it didn't need to be.
And it was just weird. Like this whole Orange Cassidy and Bandito thing, like that was kind of forced.
Yeah,
I didn't like that. Like, okay,
I did like Bandito having ear cutouts on his mask this week. That was fun.
That was fun.
So he could wear the sunglasses.
Yes, it was.
But yeah, Orange Cassidy could be doing something better than this too.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, let's put these 4 people randomly together to go against the Jericho people, but it's not even like none of those Jericho people were involved with any of these people. Like
right, like what does Orange Cassidy and Bandito really have to do with like them? Like really?
Right. It was just odd. It was a good match. Like I mean, there's
it was fine. Obviously. Like they're all good wrestlers,
but it was as far as everything else goes, it was just kind of blah.
AEW has like such a deep roster of people that like this match could have been half as long if they were going to do it at all. It could have been half as long, and they could have filled that extra 10 minutes with like something else.
Totally. And yeah, I just don't understand the point of it. It's
like especially because I mean then after this they did the thing where Britt Baker slapped him and knocked him over and whatever, fine, like it's fine, it wasn't great, whatever, fine. But like after that they cut to the BCC for their promo, and like when they're talking all about how horrendous Jericho and Adam Cole and then they cut to the BCC who are like, no, they're actually doing violent stuff. Like it makes the first half of it look so silly in comparison, right? Like
yeah, it's just silly and campy. That's the words I was looking for.
Yeah, campy's a good word for
it. It's not over the top enough
to be funny.
To be funny, but it's just over the top that it's like annoying.
Yeah.
Because it's overacting in every aspect.
Yeah, I agree. Like remember when was it Swerve who broke Billy Gunn's hand with the wrench or pliers or whatever it was?
Oh yeah.
Like that was over the top enough that it was funny. It was entertaining, right? Yes. And then Billy did the whole thing with like his hand all wrapped, like he oversold it, right? It was fun.
Yes.
Or you have to be serious with it, like Hangman Page getting hit in the face with a screwdriver. Like he's just been gone for a while, and like you're serious about it. This is like they're not really serious about it because like Britt Baker's still there, right? It's not like they're saying she's in the hospital or like.
Right.
So yeah, like I don't know. It's right. You're right. It's not serious enough. It's not silly enough. It's just like it just seems like bad acting.
Yeah. It's that bad kind of like campy.
Yeah, it really does feel like, and again, maybe Jericho is doing this like over the top sports entertainment thing as like a gimmick, but if he is, like, that's why I'm not watching WWE, because that stuff is silly and I don't want to see it, right? So
and if he is, and as like an obvious joke, but if only him and Tony Khan and the boys and girls in the back are in on it, it's even worse.
Yeah, they're not making it jokey enough that like the rest of us get it.
Right. So I don't know. We're gonna move along.
Yes,
and
we are. The BCC promo, good stuff.
Oh, we're gonna skip Renee with Jack Perry and Darby.
Oh no, I forgot about that. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll go to Renee backstage with Jack Perry and Darby.
Yes.
I do have a question. The very end, Darby, when he said it's showtime.
Yeah.
And the crowd like went bananas.
Yes.
Was that a call out to something?
That was a Sting line. Sting always says that.
Okay. There you go. So that's why I didn't get it.
Yeah, it was a Sting line. Okay. Which I don't know where Sting is. He hasn't been around, but
well, he's like 800 years old. So it's probably being rebuilt.
It's true.
But anyway, they had a nice little back and forth.
Yeah.
Jack Perry and Darby. And it set up a promo later, so that's why we're not going to stick on this one too long. I like these promos that they've been doing where they'll give you a backstage segment and you don't realize that it's going to lead to something later.
Right.
And then and like, I would have never thought, oh, we're going to get 2 Jack Perry and Darby backstage segments in one show, and they're both going to be meaningful.
Yeah, and they don't like beat you over the head with why it's meaningful. You kind of just figure it out as the show progresses.
Yes. Yeah, Michael Cole's not explaining everything to you verbatim on what just happened.
That's the other thing with not to go back to Jericho, but like it does remind me when they're like, that was the worst thing that's ever happened in history. It does remind me of like a Michael Cole being like, I'm going to tell you that this guy's bad just in case you don't know, right? Like it does feel like that.
Yeah, yes, it does.
I mean, maybe it is. Maybe they are trying to be sports entertainment-y, but like, yeah, they're not. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. If it's part of that new producers thing, or if it's just something that they're deciding to try, I really like it.
I like it because it kind of puts a thread through the show too. Like it makes it an episode as opposed to just a series of things that are happening.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say. Like it's I know everybody in wrestling loves the term storyline, but they're actually making it a show.
Yes.
It's no longer just little bits.
Right.
Like that's, and not that that was bad, like, or is bad in wrestling. It's countless hours of entertainment with like The Rock just backstage and
Right.
Stone Cold in the ring. Like that's all perfect and fine. But it's just new enough that it's just different enough too. I like it. It's fun.
I like that every episode seems to kind of have like a storyline now that kind of goes through the show. It's good. It's good.
And this one was the 4 pillars from basically beginning to end.
Yeah. And I liked it.
Now, okay. Bryan Danielson might hurt your feelings a little bit.
Yeah, I have something to say on this actually.
Go.
I love Bryan Danielson. He's amazing. It's not going to be the rant that you think it is either.
Okay.
Bryan Danielson's amazing, and I love him, and he's great. And here's my question. As soon as this happened, I wanted to ask you, and I don't think it's an easy answer. Is he better than Bret Hart?
It is not an easy answer.
Like, it's not as cut and dry as like some people are like, of course he's not better, but like, I don't know. Is he?
Yeah. I'm gonna say if you go by the standard of what we call a professional wrestler today, I'll say it's Danielson because he can talk on the microphone, and Hitman wasn't bad, but Hitman wasn't great on the mic.
I agree.
Danielson, you could give him a mic and say, talk about popcorn and a towel, and he would probably cut a promo on it. Seriously.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So I would say that, but if you just go by pure, like, promos don't exist in wrestling, like hold for hold, I would say the Hitman, but it's like 60-40.
Yeah, it's really close. See, that I was thinking the exact same way. Wrestling wise, like in-ring ability, they both have that. What I really liked about Bret Hart, which I also really like about Danielson, they make it seem real. And I don't mean in the sense that like they make it seem like they're really in a fight, because if you were really in a fight, you're not doing wrestling moves, right? Like that's right. But they make the wrestling moves that they're doing seem like they are actually hurting. And they make it make sense. Like, I've been going after your leg for a while. The reason is because I'm going to do this leg submission hold, right? Like they do, both of them have that. And you're right, it is probably like 60-40, but say like promos do exist in wrestling, right? So say you're scoring on points in each category, promos are worth 10 points and ring ability is worth 10 points. You give, Bret Hart 10 out of 10, say for wrestling, and you give Danielson 9 out of 10, even 8 out of 10. I'd say 9 out of 10. 8 out of 10's insulting. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, totally.
But then you get to promos and you give Bret Hart maybe like a 6 or a 7, and you probably give Danielson an 8 or a 9, right? So like, he could be better than he could be. Like, he legitimately could be.
To
the point where at least it's close. Like, it's close.
It's very close. I mean, it's not even saying they're in the same ballpark. It's like, if it's 100-point scale, they're both like 99.9.
Yeah, it's closer than like when he first said it. Everyone's first thought was like, "Oh no," right? But then like once you actually think about it, you're like, "Yeah, maybe." Like it's close.
Here was my things that I loved about him saying that. I loved that he said it because it caused controversy on the internet, which obviously that's probably the main reason that he said it.
Right.
But 2, any time you're any sort of athlete or anything, you should want to be the best.
Correct.
You might not ever strive to be that person, but if you never give it a shot, you will never be that person. So him saying I am better than him because I was striving to be better than him, I mean, that if you use that in everyday life, you'd be a successful human.
Right. It was good on multiple levels. On the one level, that also he's made you think about it, right? Like as a selfishly for his benefit, right? He's made everyone think like, oh, maybe he is. Or even if you're thinking, oh, maybe he's not, you're like, but it's close, right? Like, so it's putting him over in the sense that you're thinking, oh yeah, he's up there with one of the best wrestlers ever, first of all. And I absolutely loved when he was like, oh, he thinks he's the best that ever will be. I think I might be the best right now, but I'm not the best. I want someone else to be better than me one day. That was great.
And again, if more people thought that way.
Yeah.
Like,
he's amazing. Danielson's, he's amazing. And from everything I can tell, like he's just like this is him, right? He's legitimately just like a good person too. So he's really great.
Yeah. Now, you have the yin with the yang in the Blackpool Combat Club. Now, normally that would be like, oh, they must have a guy that's like normal and not violent. Nope.
Yeah.
It's Mox, and he's just more violent.
Just a different kind of violent. Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote down in my notes, my exact words were, Mox just set the bar for the cage, and I don't even think it's in the same building. So, like when he said there's going to be levels of violence that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen barbed wire on Dynamite.
Right.
We've seen
like
thumbtacks
and pizza cutters and again
glass.
the screwdriver glass. Yeah. So I don't know. So, like the first episode of Dynamite, he put Kenny Omega through a glass table.
Yes.
So yeah, what's gonna happen? I don't know.
Like, is Eddie gonna come back and light someone on fire?
There's a part of me that really wants, and I'm really, really wants, and I think I was telling you I just finished reading Mox's book. Great book, by the way. If you haven't read it, read it. It's great.
Great.
It's if you want to know about like wrestling from like indie level up until WWE WrestleMania, it's a great book to read. But he seems like he crafts stories with all his matches and crafts a storyline for every match that's going to be different or something you don't expect or whatever, right?
Right.
So I would love if this cage match for the first like 10 minutes they just wrestled.
Oh yeah.
Like awesome. It wasn't violent, it wasn't even punching, it wasn't biting, it was just like they just like submission wrestled each other for like 10 minutes. Just because, and then they can do something else later, right? But like, just for like the first 10 minutes, just to be like, you didn't expect this, did you? And that'd be really cool.
That would be, yeah. Excuse the pun, I'm all in on that. That's awesome.
But I do really wonder what's going to happen. You're right, because they're saying, I mean, Mox wouldn't have said that unless he's planning something, right? So,
oh, it's going to be so good.
Yeah.
Which obviously that's going to be the main event.
Yeah. Do you think we get a winner, or is it going to be like a? I think we get a winner because it's Dynamite. AEW doesn't do a lot of like.
That's true.
Double DQ finishes or like the cage falls apart and we can't have the end or whatever, right? So I think they'll have a winner, but I don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But if I'm just going to interject a little bit.
Yes.
If there is some shenanigans, I bet it's going to be from the Elite side. That'll be like the swerve.
Right.
Like you'll think, oh, like Mox will have Wheeler under the ring or something, but maybe at the end of the match, like the BCC will be outside and then the Elite crawls out from under the ring.
Right.
And then it's like all of them just versus one of them. Oh, that'd be fun.
Now, do you think this is a setup for Blood and Guts?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to be like, oh, we put two of them in a cage, but they all want to be in a cage, so we're going to have to do, you know what I mean? I think it is. I think it is going to be leading towards that.
I agree, and that's all it's going to go to, which is the next match, which is leading to the women's Blood and Guts.
Yes, which I really do hope they do as well.
They have to.
Yeah.
I mean, and that'll be so good too. But in my personal opinion, this was the match of the night. Saraya and Willow blew the roof off the place.
Yeah, Willow is really good. I really like Willow Nightingale. Really she's great.
Yes. So does the crowd. That's my very first note.
Yes.
That music hits and everybody jumped up.
Yeah. And she manages to make she's like the fun, happy, smiley gimmick, but serious in the ring. She makes it work.
Yeah. And it just doesn't seem like that any of that is a gimmick.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Like if you'd bump into her on the street, she'd be dancing. Like,
yeah.
How good are the Outcasts?
They have matching jackets now, which I really loved. They all had like the matching like green pleather jackets. I love them. They look great.
Incredible. They're the NWO.
Their like presentation. Their presentation is so good. Like how they dress kind of together now, but like a little bit different, and how they the theme music and the everything. The only thing is how we mentioned last week, Bret Hart needs to come in and teach people sharpshooters.
Yes.
Someone from the NWO, like Kevin Nash or something, needs to teach anyone in AEW how to spray paint someone, because no one can do it. Like the Outcasts do it, it doesn't work. Shida tried to spray paint AEW, like The only reason I knew she spray painted AEW on them is because Excalibur said it.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I had no clue what she was writing. Like, nobody in this company knows how to use spray paint.
And the other thing that they need Kevin Nash to teach them how to do, like, to just look cool. Like, they look cool, but then they move and they overact.
Right.
Just like Ruby Soho did, like, the coolest thing. Like, she looked at the camera and just like popped her collar.
Yeah.
And then I looked behind her and like Saraya was doing something that was like, it was like I blocked that out of my head. That's how dumb it was. It's like I can't even think of what she did. It was just dumb. And I was like, that totally killed what Ruby just did.
Yeah. Though, to be fair, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall are two of like the legitimately coolest people in wrestling history.
Absolutely.
Effortlessly cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, like Scott Hall doing like the airplane walk. Like,
yeah,
if anybody else did that,
it should be really dorky and lame, but like when they do it, it looks really cool.
Yes. But this match was wonderful.
I even noticed one little thing I noticed was outside of the ring, Willow, I think it was right before they went to break. Willow was down on the outside and Saraya was like, bang her head in the ground or something.
Yeah.
And then right before they went to break, Saraya kind of held her head up to the camera. And Willow was about to like sell being beaten and put her head down again. And then I think she realized the camera was there and kind of turned her head sideways so you could see her. Like, it was really smooth the way they did it.
Right.
Like, Willow realized, she's trying to show my face to the camera. Okay. And like went with it. It looked really good.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and watch that. I didn't catch that. That's really cool.
Willow's really good. I don't know how long she's been wrestling for, but she seems pretty young. But
but
she's really good.
She's so good. Did you like the heel win? First,
I did. Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. I know that the downside could be that people, like, the heels always win, but like you kind of have to do that to like have to set them up as something, as a threat, right? Like, Willow's only 29.
Oh, she's still in her 20s. I was gonna guess
29,
in her early 30s, but
no, she's pretty young.
So you mean you set the heel up, and then the babyface is supposed to win, like,
yes,
at the big show like WrestleMania?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Yes. Yeah. If you had, maybe once in a while let the babyface win at the get a payoff there, but apparently not.
I love to wait another 1,400 days.
I love the part with Shida. I thought that was great.
Well, so I was going to ask you, did you fall for it? Because I did. Totally, I did too.
I did, and my thought was like, that kind of sucks. Like, that doesn't really work. And then it was like, oh, okay, that's really cool.
The thing that I liked about it is it was old school. They decided for you. Like, they're just all standing there, and then Excalibur just throws it out there, and he's like, "No, Shida, not that."
Right.
And you're like, "No, she didn't just." And then, it was so well done.
And when she had like it was the kendo stick she was holding, or they gave her the spray paint, and then they gave her the spray paint, and she looked like she was going to spray paint Willow, and then you see Jamie and Britt show up behind them, and you're like, "Oh, I get it now."
Yes.
Like, that was cool. It was perfect. It was a great fake turn.
And I also remember, it wasn't Saraya that did something that wasn't cool. When you said spray paint, it triggered it. Toni Storm has a spray paint holster. It's stupid. It was on her belt, and it was like legitimately like a gun holster, except there was spray paint, and it was dumb. Don't ever do that again. Okay, that's what it was.
There you go.
Fake heel turn was perfect, and then Taz saying that she worked everybody was even better.
Yeah.
I've said it a million times on the show before. I love the announce team and the way that they know that their audience is smart, but every once in a while they'll just be full-blown 1984 wrestling announcers.
Yes.
Like, and Taz saying that, like, she worked everybody. Like, okay, we all know that you guys weren't fooled because you have the script in front of you.
Right.
But for you to play it off like that, that was great.
Yeah. I love, like I've said before, I love JR, but Taz is really good on commentary, and I'm glad that he's doing Dynamite with Excalibur and Tony.
Same here. And I mean, it's a shame that the guy wasn't, like, was he on TNA at all? Or was he not
Taz?
working in wrestling? Yeah.
Taz, he was doing commentary for them too.
Oh, he was doing commentary in TNA. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
So at least he was working. That's I thought perfect. Okay. House of Black.
Yes.
Talk about cool. First off.
Yes.
Every promo is awesome. How cool is the house rules for the trios title?
I love it. It reminds me of like Raven's rules from 90s WCW. I think it's great. I think it'll be really fun.
Yes.
I want to see what they do with it. And I love that Julia explained it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I wrote them all down here. We have, it's of course, I love calling it the open house rule.
Yes.
Which means that they will never challenge anybody. You challenge them.
Right.
That is the coolest thing ever.
That is cool. Yeah.
There are no rope breaks in the match. There are 20-second outside of the ring counts. So it's not a 10 count. And I thought this is cool. The DQ is the challenger's choice. So they can make it no DQ if they want.
Yes.
I've never seen anything like this. It's brilliant. Again,
I really want to see what happens with it.
Yeah, like this takes the how fun the hardcore title used to be, the original hardcore title in WWF. Like that was fun, but it still meant something, and that's exactly what these rules do, because there's rules but there's not rules. Like that's what makes it fun.
And like the rules involve strategy too, right? Now that you get to pick whether it's no D, and it separates the problem they've had a long time with the trios title versus the tag team titles is they're kind of the same thing, right? But with one more guy in each team, right? But now they've kind of separated what the trios titles are, at least for the time being, compared to what the tag titles are. Like we could see, because they accept any challenge. It could be anybody, really.
And like even Malachi alluded to that, basically saying like, I think he just said what you said. Like it will take on anybody. Just get 3 people. Like, it was so good.
Yeah.
The first match was announced, but I won't spoil it for you.
Yes, I think I have a feeling I know what it is, but continue.
Okay. And we had the next match on the night was the Tres de Mayo Trios Battle Royal. I was trying to write down the teams that were in it as it was happening, and it got ahead of me. So
I have them here. It was Lucha Bros and El Hero de Vikingo, Kip Sabian, Butcher and Blade, Dark Order. Alex, I love that team too. They're great. Dark Order, so Alex Reynolds, Evil Uno, and John Silver. The Varsity Athletes, Davari, Josh Woods, and Tony Nese. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. And the wonderful team of Powerhouse Hobbs, Aaron Solo, and QT Marshall.
Unreal that's a thing.
As this match happened, I thought, okay, that when there was the segment where like Powerhouse was kind of just like taking on everybody, and then it made me think, oh, that's why they put him in the match, right? That's why they put this weird team in the match, was to put him over. But like, no, he wasn't in for that long, so.
I hate to say it because QT, has his fingerprints all over AEW. He's trained like everybody.
Yes.
He is just not good as a character.
Yeah. And he's not good as a main roster type character. He's good as when he was on Dark or whatever, it was fine.
I just wish they wouldn't make him a character. Let him be a boring human being, because in the ring, he's so good.
Right.
I get it that you just automatically hate him as soon as he opens his mouth. But at the same time, it's like everything they give him is, again, it's like sports entertainment. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It doesn't work with Hobbs, because Hobbs seems like someone they're trying to push.
Yeah. And why would he? First off, they've never even yet explained why they're aligned. And I understand in AEW, they will tell us that eventually. So
they kind of alluded to it that what was it? Oh, when Ricky Starks, when Hobbs were feuding, Hobbs attacked Starks when he was going to face QT or something. I even forget what it was now.
Yeah.
And so QT owes him a favor, but that's a little weird.
Yeah. So I don't know, like give me a better reasoning. Like I don't know, just make it. Someone owes someone money. I mean, geez.
It's not even like the Wardlow Arn Anderson pairing is also a little weird, but at least it kind of makes sense to be like, I want to get to the top, and Arn Anderson's been successful in wrestling for a long time, so I'm going to partner. Like QT is just QT, right? If he had managed a bunch of other people to success, fine, but like he hasn't. So
yeah, or just there you hit the nail on the head. Make his gimmick be that he is the trainer, and if you want to go to the next level, then you give him a character where he wears like Adidas gear and a sweatband, and like then like be over the top with that. Then at least it makes sense.
Or like, oh, he knows so much about all the wrestlers, he can tell them all your weak points or whatever, right? Like something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all that makes sense. He's just
but not this.
An annoying person.
Yeah. The match was fine overall. Like it was what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay, my question for you: the Acclaimed win.
Yes.
Did they give it to them just because they feel bad for taking the titles away from them?
Yeah, I think so.
So over.
I think so. They want to give them some. They want to give them something because they're so over. But like, yeah, I think that's what it was.
Same here. Like the titles had to come off of them.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone was ready for it, honestly.
No, I agree. I don't know if this made it to like the regular broadcast or if it was like a picture-in-picture thing. But when Anthony Bowens was hanging off, he almost got eliminated, but was hanging on with like one arm. And did it make it to the broadcast where Taz was like, "All that scissoring must have made his hands really strong."
Yes. Yes.
Which was great. Taz is wonderful.
Taz is so good.
And you're right. I do like the Kip Sabian, Butcher and Blade group. I think they're pretty cool.
They are cool, and it was like a quiet formation.
Yeah, I was thinking how they started. They started because Bunny and Penelope started hanging out, right, and then brought them all together. Okay, that's cool. That's all you need. That's all you need to bring people together. Being like, oh yeah, these two were friends, so they brought their other friends along. Okay, makes sense.
That's right? How real life works,
Right.
That's how real life. So, Renee backstage. Talk about the four pillars again. She was backstage with Sammy this time.
Yes.
The MJF and Sammy stuff. It's so funny. I love it.
See, they're the right level of cheesy because it's supposed to be cheesy, and you know it is, and they both know it is. Like Sammy and MJF are both like making silly faces at the camera, and like everyone involved knows this is cheesy and silly, and that's why it's funny.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, again, the Jericho stuff, like, is it supposed to be cheesy? Is it supposed to be like? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly. It's just this whole segment was fun. We know how it ends later, so we won't stay here too long. But...
yeah. Even the little smart things like Sammy saying, "I watched the show and I saw that you didn't. There was no one else in the car." Like, it took until AEW for wrestling to notice that, oh yeah, they could just watch the show,
right?
And then all like the swerves would see, right? Like, it is on national television. So
unless you're Kenny Omega, you just don't watch the product.
Because there's been 30 years of someone scheming backstage with someone else, and like the other guy never finds out, but like it's on TV. Right?
Yeah, like your wife didn't call you and be like, "Hi."
Right? None of your friends were like, "Hey, I was watching, I saw this."
Like, why didn't you tell me? Yeah, I thought that was a very smart thing to say too.
Yes,
and subtle. Like,
yes, yeah, they didn't beat you over the head with it, but they mentioned it.
Going to a little more serious promo.
Yes.
Speaking of Mr. Kenny Omega.
Yes.
This I think was the first time in my life that I liked Don Callis.
Yeah, he did a good job.
I honestly I thought he overshadowed Kenny, but like in a good way.
Right. Yeah, he did like he did like the manager cutting a good promo for their. Not that Omega can't cut a promo, but this was a really good one.
Yeah, and it was just the whole segment was good. Kenny being like aloof in the background, and Callis just going bananas. And I mean, you saw the scar he's gonna have on his head. I mean, obviously messed him up pretty bad.
Yeah, this Kenny Omega, John Moxley, BCC Elite feud, it does seem like it's totally different. Like it sticks out from the show in a good way. Like as soon as their segments come on, you're like, oh, this is going to be serious, and it's good.
Yeah, it's just, there's no complaints. Anytime, I mean, it's always, again, not trying to make a pun, but it's always Money in the Bank with
right. I agree.
With the Elite. Not much to say at the beginning of the next segment, but Wardlow squash. But
I get the squash because they're trying to put him over. I get it.
Right.
But like, why is this guy facing the TNT champion? Like realistically, like
that right.
I don't care. Like I get it.
Same here.
But
I honestly, like, I wish they would have just had the segment, because it's like, oh, here we are. We come back from commercial. There's some guy in the ring that I've never seen before. Oh, there's Wardlow's music. I literally just wrote down Wardlow's squash. I don't even know the other guy's name.
There's no need. Yeah, there's no need for the squash. Wardlow could have just came out with Arn Anderson and been like, and called out Christian. They didn't need to do the squash at all.
But like you said, like
I get it. They're trying to like put him over as like big and dangerous. I understand it, but
now, what do you think of Christian answering the challenge? I thought
that was great.
I
surprising, and it was cool. I want to see the match. I'm surprised. I don't know. I didn't expect this to be the match, and I don't know how good a Christian Wardlow match will be, but I want to see it.
Same here. Now, okay, hear me out. This is, I mean, I've been wrong on this show many times, and I'm probably gonna be wrong with this, but this is what I want. You know what? I'm not gonna. This is what I want to happen.
All right.
it's kind of. I want Luchasaurus halfway through the match to come in and attack Christian. So Wardlow gets disqualified. Christian automatically stands up and grabs the mic and says, "See, I told you I'd beat you."
All right.
And just like walks away.
I like that.
Wardlow's like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean? What? What do you?" And and then Christian just goes like on for like the next like 2 weeks
about how he beat him.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be funny. I would like that.
And I just want that to happen.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Totally fun. And Christian would play it off so well.
Now, do you think they're not having Christian cut a promo on Wardlow because it would be too like bad for Wardlow?
Yeah, and I think Joe just basically like destroyed him,
right?
Storyline wise too.
Right.
So,
I feel like they can't do it again.
Right. Yeah, you can't do it again. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
Next thing was really fun.
Next thing was super fun, and people that didn't like it, then you have zero sense of humor because it was hilarious. Satnam Singh, Sanjay Dutt, Double J, and Jay Lethal show up at the chicken farm of the Briscoes.
Yes,
real chicken farm. If you always thought that was a gimmick, it's a real place. Showed up there, and the way that when he answered the door and said, "What the hell are y'all doing at my house?" It was great.
I really loved Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh both wearing overalls.
Yes.
But then Jay Lethal wearing like a sport coat.
Yes.
It was great. Like none of them knew how to dress. They were all like, "No, you wear overalls to a farm." And Jay Lethal be like, "No, I'm pretty sure you just dress in a sport coat." And like none of them knew what to wear. It was great.
The two greatest things, whoever the editor was on that, just from a nerd like editing standpoint, made me laugh. Like they're doing like the montage, and then at the very end of the montage was just Jeff Jarrett on the lawnmower, just driving off like into the sunset, kind of. I cracked up, literally laughed out loud. I loved it.
It was really good. And I even loved Jarrett like going, "Oh, this is my big song." And then gonna say "With My Baby Tonight," yes. And then getting cut off. It was all good. All good stuff.
It was so good.
And I do feel like you're right. Like this is kind of just them, like, obviously Mark Briscoe's been through a lot. So this is just like, have fun with your friends, do something silly. And like, it's been fun.
Yeah. And the people that don't understand that, they're like, "Oh, Mark Briscoe's so much better than this." Let the guy, like, you know, like you said, so much has happened to him. Like this is probably so awesome to just like literally do whatever you want every week.
Right. And like with your friends, like he's friends with Jay
Your
Lethal, right? So like they just get
with
to
your best friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like
and Double J is just Double J's gold whenever he's on TV now.
What? Okay.
How has that been such a successful signing? But it has been.
Okay, this is I've been meaning to say this too, and I haven't wrote it down. And I'm glad you brought this up. The success of Billy Gunn, Double J, hear me out, Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson, and I mean you
and
can
Sting.
even and Sting, and I was going to say you can even chalk it up to, I know she turned out to be a horrible person in the long run, but Vicky Guerrero.
Yes.
All those people in WWE were, if anything, well, Vicky had a couple high
Vicky
spots
had a
here and
bit,
there.
yeah, but
Yeah, everybody was all like never great, good, but never great.
Right.
Does that is how screwed up that company is, that these people had that much talent, and myself included, everybody judged them to be just average.
Like I didn't know Jeff Jarrett was hilarious, but he is. Like,
yeah. And I mean, like obviously you knew like he had like the skill and everything, but
right.
in every company he was in, like why didn't anybody just let him be himself?
Yeah.
Because it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's hilarious.
I don't get it. Anyways,
what a signing, Double J. Incredible.
It's gonna go down. Okay, talk about changing history. At the beginning of this, Double J's fingerprint is all over Wembley Stadium here.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it happens without him, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
You could call me an idiot or whatever all you want, but I don't know if it happens without him.
Yeah, I agree.
Ricky Starks versus Juice Robinson.
Yes.
Great match. I have a question for you though.
Yes.
Every week we're getting a little bit more of the puzzle here.
Yes.
You know, Perfect 10 guy. Sean Spears was away this week, and they kept alluding to, but Sean Spears isn't here.
Right.
Okay, we're going to get the tag match eventually.
Yes.
Is that when we get the rest of the Bullet Club, or maybe just another member to make it like, because it's going to be, there'll be even odds. Finally, they'll all be at one place.
Right. Yeah. But I was a little surprised. Maybe it's because Sean Spears wasn't there, because it was exactly the 10th anniversary of Bullet Club.
Yes.
On Wednesday, I was really sure that something was going to happen, like another person from Bullet Club was going to show up or something, but they didn't, and that's fine. It's fine. Here's my thinking: what if it's Sean Spears?
That'd be awesome, honestly.
Like, what if they do the tag match and even allude, like, oh, you might see another member of Bullet Club tonight. So then they spend the whole night, like, looking at Ricky spends the whole night looking around, like, oh, who's it going to be? And it's his partner.
That'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
But either way, even if it's like, the sides are finally going to be even, and then someone else shows up, that'd be cool too. That has to go somewhere. You don't mention Bullet Club and then do nothing with it.
Exactly. And Juice has the Bullet Club logo all over his gear.
Yeah.
It's in their entrance music or entrance videos and stuff. My one complaint with the match, Juice Robinson, please don't ever tell anybody to body slam you on the steel steps again. That was awful.
Looked bad.
It looked like it was just hell. Or just say that.
Also, I noticed, I don't know if they're always like this, but the steel steps, in WWE, from what I know, they're like two parts. Like the bottom is a section, and then there's like the next two steps are another. This seemed like it was just one big
set of steps. Yes.
And I don't know if they always are, because Ricky slammed him on the steps, and then I think he went back to kind of like pick up the steps, but then was like, oh, that's too big. And then that's how it looked to me, at least. And then went and did something else. But are they always one big piece like that, or is that new?
I've always known them to be like the WWE way.
Yeah.
Have like a platform on that was for the
they come apart like in two. Yeah, like the bottom step is a separate thing than the top two steps. But
so that's a good point. I don't know.
It looked really solid, these steps, for sure.
Well, when Juice hit it, I mean, it didn't move at all.
Yeah. It wasn't like where you can kind of see it bend a little bit or whatever, right? Like that didn't happen. Like
I shook my head. Like, come on, dude. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait for the pay-per-view. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that to your body.
But I do want to see Jay Lethal, Ricky Starks. That'll be fun whenever it happens. I'm assuming at the pay-per-view.
Jay White, Ricky Starks.
Jay White, Ricky Starks.
Okay,
yes.
I was confused for a second.
No, Jay White, Ricky Starks.
Yes.
I do want to see that. That'll be fun.
And
I forget what Jay White said on the way out. He was like yelling at Ricky on the way out of the ring. I forget what it was. He said something along the lines of like, I'm the catalyst. You don't get to see something. You don't get to do this until I say it's time or something like that. Like I forget exactly what he was saying, but like he was on screen for like a minute, and it was immediately like he made that minute meaningful. Right? Like he's really good.
Well, Mark Madden says he'll never be over in the United States.
Of course.
Anyways, we had the main event of the night.
Yes. Before that, we had backstage Jack Perry and MJF.
Oh yeah,
right before the main event.
MJF, going back to the Four Pillars promos.
Yes.
MJF kind of weaseled his way into the locker room of Jack Perry and Darby.
And another thing, I like how they explained why the camera was in the locker room, because Darby was, cut a little promo before it happened.
Yes. Yeah.
WWE and other wrestling companies, not even just WWE, like they never explain like, oh, why are we randomly cutting to Jungle Boy's locker room for no apparent reason? But no, they explained it.
Yeah. And I loved the Darby's like, I'll meet you out there. I'm going to go get my board.
Yeah.
And Jack Perry's kind of like, just which some athletes take a minute to themselves before they go perform. So like he even played it up, like, like try to get in the zone or whatever. And MJF just weasels his way in.
Yeah.
It was so good. Now, is there going to be more to this when he kept saying, you're going to do the right thing, Jack?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's trying to get into all their heads to like get them to turn or get them to help him. I don't know if it's going to work, but I don't know. Maybe it works on one of them. I don't know.
For once, I want something to not work out for MJF.
I agree.
He always finds a way. And obviously that's the heel. Like the heel always finds a way. Because when the heel falls, it's that much better.
The heel can fall?
Yeah, sometimes.
I thought that just won indefinitely for years.
Usually after 3 years.
Yes, all right.
1,100 days is.
That's the limit.
Yeah, it's usually around 1,100.
All right. Anyway.
And so speaking of days, like MJF's getting, we're getting to like that 6-month territory.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a good reign, great title reign.
Yes.
And it's. I thought, I'm gonna eat my words here, because I thought he'd be a boring champion with never wrestling.
Right.
But it works for him.
He makes it work, and he is on the shows. Like
he's on the show, right?
And he's like weaseling his way out of matches all the time, which I like.
So, it's about time. But
I don't think he loses. I don't think he loses at this.
Oh, okay.
This match, but yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I was gonna
they
say
had their remix. They had their remixed theme, which I thought was amazing.
That was really well done. I mean,
it works way better than it should have too.
It's just gonna say, like, that was like hitting the lottery. Basically just let's say, hey, let's play them at the same time and see. Oh wow, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. The remix theme was awesome.
I liked Darby giving his board away to a kid right away. First of all, that must be awesome for that kid. But also then they explained it like, oh, he doesn't want the board used against him like it was last week.
Again,
so like it was really cool.
And now, like, I understand that like skateboarding, like I was a big time skater growing up and everything. Like skate companies are very they really don't care about like copyrights and stuff. Like they look at it as like, oh, like they showed the bottom of the board with the company's name on it, and like I saw people saying like, oh, that must have been like a plant like sponsored by that company or whatever.
Right.
but I don't know, because like skateboard, like that's why the name of the company is on the bottom of the board for when me or you were out
Someone
skating,
holds it up. Yeah.
someone holds it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, that company's not going to say anything. They were just on national television.
Right. They're probably happy. Yeah. Even if they're not involved.
So I thought that was really cool that, like, you know, AEW wasn't like, oh no, Darby, let's just make an AEW or a Darby Allin themed board.
Right.
Like, it was a real skate company, a real skateboard.
Yeah.
And he
because again, if WWE had did it, it would have had like a WWE logo on the bottom of it or something.
Yeah, it would have been like the John Cena skateboard.
Right.
Which again, nothing wrong with that either.
Right.
But yeah, it would have, like you said, everything in WWE has to have the letters on it.
Yes. This is a fun match.
I was just gonna say, was this match better than it ever should have been?
I agree.
Or
it was.
Even had to be.
Especially because first of all, you knew it was going to happen. Like the faces were going to win, and you knew it was going to be because Sammy and MJF, didn't get along. But yeah, it worked. I mean, they're all really good wrestlers, so it makes sense that it was a good match. But yeah, it was really good. And MJF's little heelish things, like, okay, we're both going to run to the ring and splash, and then he didn't, and been like, oh, sorry, but yeah, just bring him back in the ring. It's like, it was great.
Now you already, I was gonna throw you a curveball and say, does MJF lose at the pay-per-view? But
no, I don't think he does.
You think he retains?
I think he sneaks his way into a victory. I can see, say Darby takes out Sammy with the coffin drop and he's about to pin him, and then MJF just like slides in at the last second and gets the cover. Like it'll be something like that. Because I don't know if they haven't said it's going to be elimination. I would love it if it was elimination, but I don't know if that's what they're going to do. If they don't do elimination, I definitely think he wins. He sneaks a win somehow. I think this reign is going to last longer.
I mean, I'm okay with it lasting longer, but if it's not elimination, I told you last week, if it's elimination and there's going to be a champion, you eliminate MJF first.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But if it's not elimination, this is the way I would do it. Whoever is going to be the champion, just say they're going to give the belt to Jack Perry. You have like Sammy, just say is totally incapacitated. He went through like a flaming table. But MJF, like his whole time, has just kind of skirted his way. He's really not beat up, and Jack Perry's going to pin Darby, and like you see MJF going to make his move. Sammy somehow, like one last ditch effort, just like grabs his leg and stumbles him that much so he can't break the pin.
Okay.
So MJF doesn't get pinned, but he also has to watch him lose the belt.
Right. Yeah. I think that's like, if it's going to happen, I feel like it would be something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like then you have all four involved, like Darby was beat up, but Jack Perry got the pin, but Sammy didn't give up because he wasn't going to let, MJF get the best of him. So he tripped him when he was going to break the pin.
The only issue I would have with that is this is going to be any of their first world titles. And for myself, I feel like I would want to beat the actual champion.
Totally.
Not. And I know that would probably lead to, like, say Jack Perry did win by pinning Darby. It would lead to like a Jack Perry MJF match that then he would get his one-on-one win. But I don't know. I think MJF wins. I think this lasts longer. I think I can see why they might take it off him because like Forbidden Door is coming up and maybe you want someone who can, not that MJF can't wrestle a good match because he obviously can.
Right.
But you might want someone who's going to, have more of a MJF's come out on publicly and said like he doesn't care about New Japan or any of the wrestlers. So maybe you want the champion to be someone who's gonna be, this has always been my dream to have this match against, whoever. So I could see why maybe they would think about taking it off him, but I don't think they will. I think he's gonna keep it. Plus Punk's coming back. I want to see him feud with Punk.
That'll be fun too. Well, do you have anything in closing?
Well, the only other thing I thought we should mention was the end of Dark and Evolution.
Oh, that is very true.
I never really watched them much, but they are apparently ending. Because
for now, apparently.
Yes, because for apparently all Warner Brothers wants all AEW wrestling shows on its network. which again, that's when you know a company's failing. When you have
they give them more television
when a TV network decides that they want all of their shows on their network, that's what they do to punish you for your failure.
I was thinking about this. If they don't care, like they should just put them on at like random times.
Right.
Not like not random times, like every week it's a different time. No, like just have them on like
just whenever they have space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Saturday at 6 something, right? Like our Sunday at 3, like whenever they have. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just keep it at that, because I mean they were getting, I don't know, probably a decent amount of views on YouTube.
Yeah.
But you're not getting the same ad revenue that you're getting when you're on national television. So,
right.
But again, the same people are going to watch it. Like people, like that's kind of more of like the hardcore fan. Like I watched it every week. I enjoyed it.
Right.
But like I understand not everybody's going to watch it. So if you would make it like, a random time,
when you're not taking away like another show.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was like, don't take something off the air for something that 100,000 people are going to watch. That's what I was basically trying to say. So I think it'll come back in one way or another.
I'm hoping it comes back as a streaming deal, because apparently Warner Brothers had their like upfront thing today, and they were talking about how they HBO Max is now just Max, and they're putting all their programming basically on streaming services. So hopefully that includes AEW. That would make a lot of sense. Oh, we're pulling it off YouTube, but it's going to be on this streaming service, and you watch it there. If they don't end up doing that, I feel like the people who were on Dark and Elevation are going to just be on ROH. Or I feel like once the Saturday show, which it seems like they're going to call Collision, I think Rampage will become kind of like a Dark.
Totally.
That time slot is awful, and like we watch it, but like the time slot is off, and it moves around all the time. So, making that like the B show after like, Saturday and Wednesday, and it would be like the, people who aren't quite ready for prime time, but they can be on the, 10 o'clock show. I think that's what they'll end up doing.
Right. And that was the nice thing about Dark and Elevation was, people that are greener than your grass in the backyard, we're getting like live audiences and like actual television cameras. It was still like an indie type setting, but you were getting the real deal.
And I mean, it worked. Like people like the Acclaimed, like they got started there, right? So
the Acclaimed are, proof that the system works.
I feel like they will continue it in some shape or form, because it has been successful for them. And
they have to.
I don't think they're going to cut, like they're saying, they might have to cut people. I don't think they'll cut people, because a lot of the people who were, signed to AEW and were on Dark and Elevation, like they're just going to be on ROH or Rampage or the bigger shows. And the other people they were never actually signed, right? They were on one-off deals. So
that's what I was just going to say. Like a lot of people would be like local talent, just
or they get a tryout for a while. Like Sky Blue became All Elite recently, right? But she'd been on a whole bunch of shows, so she was clearly on like we'll give you like a trial, like a 3-month deal or something, and see how that goes.
Yeah, and a lot of those people scored during the pandemic.
Yes.
So like, as awful as the pandemic was, it helped a lot of people.
It did. It gave, I think Tony Khan did that on purpose. I mean, selfishly and not selfishly. Like selfishly, he wanted more talent in his company, of course, right? So he's going to, but not selfishly, like a lot of these indies weren't doing shows. And the only way you could work was AEW, basically. That was the only option. Like WWE wasn't putting indie guys on TV. And all your indies were basically shut down for a year, right? So
that's nuts. So
that was really, it worked out for Tony, and it worked out for the wrestlers to like have these shows. So I hope they continue in some shape or form, even though I don't really watch them regularly. They're helpful for everyone. So the Saturday show sounds cool. That's gonna be fun.
Saturday Collision sounds very cool.
Yes.
And is it officially 2 hours?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they haven't announced it, but that's what everyone yeah, it's live.
Okay.
And what they came out today was what we were thinking all along. It's not going to be like a brand split. It's going to be like, if you don't want to work with certain people,
right,
you can be on the other show. But sometimes they'll be on Wednesday, sometimes they'll be on Saturday. If you want to avoid them, you can work the opposite schedule. But
right,
it's no, I'm not saying you can't. Like say the Elite starts off on, they don't want to be in a locker room with Punk, but it doesn't mean Punk is always on Saturday and the Elite is always on Wednesday. Sometimes Punk will be on Wednesday, and if the Elite don't want to be around, that's fine. They can be on Saturday that week. And if I think what Tony Khan is hoping for here is this, maybe they'll stay away from each other for a little while and then realize, hey, let's be on the same show, see how that works out, and hopefully it works out fine.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna put my preface out there. If it's not a work,
yes.
So, if that is true, I think you're right. I think this is just get everybody. It's all calm, cool, and collected. If they're going,
and if you don't feel comfortable working with someone, you don't have to. And if you do feel comfortable, you can.
Yeah, and you're going to cross paths if you, someone's going to apologize to someone eventually.
Yes,
is what I was going to get at.
Yes.
So,
or they'll just be used to like, okay, we just don't talk to them. That's fine, right? Like,
or that, like, oh, okay, this can work with us.
Yeah, like, not like actively mad at each other, even if you're not hanging out or talking. Like, even if you never speak to one another, but like you can be in the same company and not fight.
Right. Which, I mean, we've been saying that for over a year, or not over a year now. We've been saying that for 9 months now. Like, they're adults.
Right.
Like, if you get in a fight with one of your coworkers at work, they don't say, oh, we should start a new company and have you guys split up.
Right.
They would say, deal with it, or there's the door, leave.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, on that note, do we have anything else?
No, next week is 1 year. Well, this week technically 1 year, but next week is our 1 year celebration. So we're excited about that. Again, like, share, subscribe, follow. Thank you. This has been really fun. We've had a great time in the last year. So
yeah, I mean, what started is, I mean, literally 2 Twitter friends, and someone threw the idea out, we should do that, and we did. So,
but yeah, it's been really fun. It's been
totally
a good time.
Fun. And we've met some really cool people doing this so far, and hope to meet some more.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you everybody. It's been fun, and we cannot wait for year number 2. Well, we're officially in year 2, but whatever.
Yes.
Year 2 is going to be better.
Yes.
A lot of things coming up.
Yes.
So, with all that, we are officially on the road to Double or Nothing, and it kind of looks like we put our chips all in. So, until next week, later.